Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Clock Hour. I'm your host, Marv Kennel. It's been a long time. I am back. I got a couple of very special guests in the building with me today. One you've seen before, the other one you haven't, or you've probably seen them somewhere in town, seen them, and I thought, most of the time, when I hear something or see somebody that's really getting into what they doing, I always try to bring them on so they can share who they are and what they about and what they do in on the Clock Hour. So I want you to introduce yourself.
Oh, me?
You.
Yeah.
Come on, you with me?
Everybody, my name is Whitney Chappelle. I love to use my full name, you know what I mean? That's what I'm going by. I'm putting a stamp on it. You're going to see it everywhere in lights.
Dig it.
Yes.
I saw you speak somewhere, and your energy,
Right.
your energy was there.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh. I said, I need to give her a holler just to bring her on the show so people can feel what
Right,
I
right.
felt. You know what I mean? Because you're a very busy person.
Yeah, I try to. I try to be busy being productive, though, not just running around like a chicken with my head cut off, you know?
Right.
I love dealing with people. I love speaking to people. I actually don't even really listen to music anymore. I just listen to audios,
Yeah.
motivational speakers, just people putting positive energy in my head because, they say garbage in, garbage out, but when you put that garbage in, it stays in. So
Really?
you got to make sure what you're putting in there is going to create the right mindset for you, keep you on a positive street, and, live
So
life with.
you retrain yourself then, huh?
Absolutely.
Because most of us, we listening to, I'll put in my playlist and,
Man,
I was
listen.
on some Public Enemy this morning. But, and you're right, but I've been reading a chess book. I called one of my homeboys. I said, look, man, I'm learning this chess thing.
Right.
You just now learning chess?
Yeah.
You can
I
do
ain't
that.
had
We just
the
had
time.
this conversation yesterday.
I ain't had the time.
Yeah.
So
at me.
this is what he did. He said, meet me at Waterville Park. What was that, Saturday? The other day. Memorial Day.
Oh, yeah, last weekend.
Gave me a whole set. The book, the counter thing, a whole beautiful set.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
My man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I play like I'm a sub. So I'll sit and play with my iPad.
Right.
But you know what? It's like you said, it's what you fill in your head with.
Yes.
You can fill your head with a bunch of nonsense. But like I said, I seen you, I met you, but I was like, it's something about you that I said, man, I need to be around them a little bit more.
Right.
And then my family here, this is important. What you been up to, man?
Well, listen, man, I'm doing everything I got to do to make sure I do what I got to do. You heard? That's what I've been doing.
Right. I dig it, but I like that.
Yeah.
I like that because, if somebody asks me what Thomas doing, I say, man, Thomas, all right. Even though they don't ask me, because I don't think they really know the connection.
Right.
I like that, but then again, I don't. Just like with my brother. Everybody knew him. Some people didn't really know he had a brother. Yeah. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
So I can catch you slipping if I have to.
Right.
That's that dog whistle.
Yes. That's that observation you got going on.
That's the dog whistle.
Yes.
But but now y'all on my show. We're joining forces. I see you. So what else you got going on?
I mean, well, me personally, I always wanted to help people, and I found a way. I had a lot of people pass away, like close to me in the past couple of years, you know what I mean? And my family has always had life insurance, right? So I thought it was something normal. And when I seen, people in my community doing a GoFundMes and whatnot, that really hurt my heart because at the end of the day, when somebody passes away, you should be able to grieve and not have to go look for money.
Right.
So my thing was, let me see how I could, provide for my community by getting my life insurance license and offering the products and letting them know that it's affordable and it's not hard to find. Because it's like one of three things. People just don't know where to get it from. They don't think about it, or they don't want to talk about it.
And it's not offered to them.
Exactly. And it's a tough conversation for some people to have. They don't want to have that conversation. It's tough, but it's something that's a necessity for us.
And you know what's crazy? My mother been telling me where her papers are for the past, 5, 6 years?
I love that.
You know where my papers are. You know where my papers are. You know where. I'll be like, come on. But that's it. I don't want this. I want this. Don't do this. Do this. And, you know, that's like when my brother passed. Before he passed, somebody said, I told Rob I'm not paying for his funeral. He not knowing that my brother had life insurance.
Right.
My grandmother made sure of that. Y'all, nobody saw GoFundMe for my brother. My brother went out very well, man.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good.
Yeah.
That was a good few.
You know.
And that's a lot of things too. You know, I would say for our older generation, like my grandmother had a policy on me as well. But you know, back then it was like they had more like door-to-door services. Somebody going around like, you know, make sure you get life insurance. They come collect their money. And then it stopped, you know what I mean? So I feel like our generation right now, and with the people that's a little older than us, it's like, it was never really talked about.
Right.
And it was never really a thing. And the thing that people don't realize is, you know, generational wealth goes from being into things like this, like teaching your kids how to invest, teaching everybody around you how to invest, take care of yourself right now, but take care of your future self.
Right.
And what life insurance does is, God forbid something happened to people with young kids, your kids still gonna be here.
Right.
You wanna make sure you wanna leave them in good hands, make sure you leave them properly protected, and make sure you have a will set in place so that you won't have your kids going with all random people that you don't want to, you know what I mean?
Right.
So just having our affairs in order is like a huge deal in our community right now, that it needs to be brought up and it needs to be spoken about.
Because even speaking of that, with the will, the VA offers help as far as writing your will. Because my music equipment goes in one direction, then everything else goes in another direction. And that's important. And like you said, nobody talks about it because that was like a taboo conversation.
Right.
Just know that you got to go to a funeral.
Yes.
I'm going to a funeral. You know, what I'm going to a funeral for? But
exactly.
You just know you got to go to a funeral.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, you got something. And I had another young lady up here before. She was talking about the same thing. But I don't think it resonated as it should. So we're going to come at them again and let them know it's out here. And it's an important conversation. Like, look, I had a couple heart attacks, man. It's a very important conversation.
Yes.
My last one, that was it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And I think it's very important, like you're saying, like you had some health issues. It's very important for the younger people to get it when you're young because, you know, once you come out with a condition or you get to a certain age, it's very expensive. And some insurance companies might not cover you.
They won't.
So it's very vital for us to make sure that we get our young people signed up. It's very affordable for young people because, you know, they ain't really been through nothing. They don't have no health issues, and it's affordable. So I encourage everybody with kids, like, to please make sure that your kids are covered. We have, like, so many things going on in the city as far as car accidents, the people being in the wrong place at the wrong time, getting shot. And these are things that we can't control, but this is something that could possibly happen to anybody close to you. So
I have a question, and this is what confuses me. What is the difference with term life and what is the other one?
Whole life.
All life, right?
Whole life.
Whole life.
Yes.
What's the difference?
So the difference is you have whole life, which is good because you have it for your whole life, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I said, when people get it earlier, when they're younger, it's affordable. So with the whole life, they give you a death benefit that you have to keep for your whole life, which is good because you know you have it, right?
Right.
But you also pay a higher premium because you get a savings account. You get cash in your life insurance. Have you ever heard of anybody saying, "Oh, I'm gonna borrow some money out of my life insurance policy"?
Right.
That's whole life.
That's whole life.
Yes.
Okay.
So you accumulate cash in there. Now the thing about that is that whole life, you have the death benefit and you have your cash value. Say for instance, you go in there and you want to borrow $10,000 because you want to buy a house, right?
Right.
Which is it should be like a no-brainer because that's your money, correct?
Right.
So as soon as you do that with Whole Life, they're gonna send you a bill for $10,000 and say that you need to pay that back. Why do you need to pay that back if it's your money, right?
And you've been paying into it.
And you've been paying into it, right? And you're paying a higher premium to have access to the money. So with that being said, they send you that bill. If you don't pay that back, it accumulates interest every month after that. Now, say for instance, somebody did that and they're like, I'm not gonna pay it back.
So that's like the car insurance. It's a ripoff.
Exactly.
Everything, most things in this country is a ripoff, but we
Right.
just go along with it, just play along
Right.
with it because, hey, what are we gonna do at the end of the day, right?
Right. Okay.
So along with that, you have access to that. And the crazy thing too is something that, I learned that even with the cash value, if you don't touch it, God forbid something happens to you, when you pass away, your beneficiary still doesn't get that money. The insurance company keeps it. So you get the death benefit that you've been paying for,
Right.
but you don't get the cash value. But this is perfectly legal
100%.
in America. And it's the fine print that people don't read. So our thing is to educate our community and saying like, you go to a job, they're like, you want life insurance, you want benefits, sign right here. You think anybody reads that? They just sign it, right?
Right.
You go to get a whole life policy, they tell you how much it is. What are you gonna do? You're just gonna sign it. You're gonna believe whatever a person is telling you. But for us as people, we need to know what we have. You get the paperwork, you get the policy, read it over. I encourage everybody, even if you don't get life insurance from me, if you have something, please look over and know what you have. Educate yourself on what you're paying for.
Right.
Most people have stuff coming out of their account. They're like, I don't even know what that is
Because
anymore.
that's always the basic question. And I'll be like, okay, so 1 minute I'll remember what it was explained. It was explained to me this time. And then next minute I'll be like, okay, this is a simple question that I think or feel people may want to know. Something
Absolutely.
simple and how they can. So term life, that's for amount of time or?
Yes, so term is for a certain amount of time. So depending on when you get it, it depends on your age. So like say for instance, somebody that's 30 years old, they're gonna get a 35-year term. Somebody that's like 50 may get like a 25-year term. But the term is you pay a lower premium, but you get more for the death benefit. So what we believe is that when you buy term, you're gonna pay a lower premium, but you also wanna be investing on the other hand, right?
Right.
Because the term is gonna run out. It's gonna run out if you don't pass away before then. But you also wanna make sure when you retire and you get older that you have enough money to secure yourself. Because, having life insurance when you're young, your kids are young, you got a mortgage, you're still paying off your car, you wanna make sure, God forbid, something happened to you, that your income is replaced.
Right.
But also, when that term runs out, the kids are grown, they're out of college, you're retired, you want to make sure you have enough money to live the rest of your life.
So wait a minute. So during that term, you're paying into it.
Yes.
But when it runs out, what happens to it?
It just runs out. Just
So
like
everything
if you
that you put into that is gone.
gone.
So you can't borrow from it or you can't get no return on that?
So the only way that you can get something off of it, God forbid, you come up with a terminal illness. That's the only way that you would be able to borrow from that. But other than that, nope, it's turned, it's cut clean and dry. God forbid something happens to you, you have a $300,000 policy, you're gonna get $300,000 check where your beneficiary is. With the whole life, like I said, you pay more of a premium, but you could be paying $200 for $150,000. Which, if you buy that when you're like 20, $150,000 when you turn 90 still might not be enough money to leave behind. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it has its pros and cons, but with us, it's really just taking care of your younger self and your older self, right? Because nobody really thinks that they want to be 65 and broke, but then you go to Walmart and you see these elderly people working because they don't have enough money. So our plan is to educate people on, basically the investments in the way that you can properly prepare yourself to retire at the age that you're supposed to retire, and also have enough money to last you if you live to 108. I just seen somebody the other day that lived to 108. You want to make sure you have enough money to live an extra 40 years, right?
Right. So which one would you recommend for people?
I would recommend term and investing and on the side so that you have your money. Because with whole life, you're investing, but that's not your money.
So you can invest while you have that term?
Yes.
With that same money?
Yes. No, you can invest. So what I'm saying is you're going to pay a lower premium with term life insurance.
Right.
But what you can do is make sure that you're putting in an investment on the side. people have retirements and
Right.
they have like, you know, things going for themselves. It's never, you can have as many investments as you want, let me say.
I get that.
Yeah. So you can have
I
it
invest on Cash App.
anywhere.
Right.
But it's just like things like that are
Right.
right there in your face.
Yeah.
People go on
Keep it
Cash
simple.
App every day
Right.
and don't even know that they can make their money
Yeah.
work for them, right?
And they pay dividends.
Exactly.
They really do.
Exactly.
I was telling them at school yesterday, I said, look, I said, you got Cash App? You got Cash App. Invest. I said, that $25 that y'all transferred, invest.
Yes.
So I get it.
But what you don't know, you don't know.
Right. You're
And-
right. I didn't know.
Yeah, what we're building up is a community of people that's gonna educate people like us, the middle class. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, you have the rich
Right.
that's gonna stay rich, the poor that's gonna stay poor, and then you have the middle class.
Like, what school did you go to?
Will be.
You. School of Hard Knocks.
Which one?
But you know what though? Here's the thing. I don't know how old y'all are.
You don't
but-
know how old I am.
No.
Oh,
But
wow.
you guys, y'all are important. You're important now because you have a generation that's running around in circles out here.
Right.
And then our conversation, looking at y'all, I'm sitting here with gray on my face and looking at y'all like y'all still like babies. Right?
Right.
So it's necessary.
Yes.
And then listening to you know your stuff. This is what it is.
Yes.
Because I'm sitting in the classroom and I'm looking at y'all got these and don't know nothing. How is it? I said, imagine if you had these while you were in school. Y'all had these when you were in school? Me either.
We come from a whole different generation.
Imagine that if you had these,
Right.
what
But
they don't know nothing.
they don't. And the thing is, they are very smart young people. They just need a better environment and they need direction.
What I mean, better environment. What does that mean?
I would say, as for like, you know, even like these kids that are coming up now, they were in COVID era. So, you know,
Right.
they were homeschooled. They don't really have any friends like that. They just don't want to go outside, don't want to be social as much. And then they're just confined to these four walls and they're comfortable in that space.
Right, yeah.
So the environment of getting them out and getting them around people, you know, just showing them different things, like personal development, I'm huge on that. Also teaching them about finances. If they don't want to learn what's going on in school because I feel like they're not giving them the information that interests them,
They
let's
do.
let's find some kids. What, they give them stuff that they're interested
They got
in?
all kinds of classes now. There's classes I ain't never even heard of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me, what kind of classes?
I'll be running around the schools. They teach them marketing. They got marketing classes and everything in there.
In high school?
They got them in the schools.
Shoot, I like that.
You can go there's classes. I was in one of the high schools. They got big printers and everything. They market and do their yearbooks right there.
See, I
They
just
do
learned something.
everything.
Yeah, they just
but
started that.
It's they're not. Something is missing.
Right. I agree with that.
It's something missing because when you're looking at them and I'm listening to them talk, I'll be like, y'all don't get it. They don't.
Right.
And you know what? I feel bad for them.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because the future, these are supposed to be, they gotta be the ones that's gonna look out for
Others when
y'all.
we get older, yeah.
I mean,
You're right.
I'm what, 56, man? I'm getting ready to, it's,
Yeah. Nah, but you're right.
but you know what I'm saying?
They're next up and coming. And it's like, what are they
Right.
going to do
Right.
when the world is in their hands?
Right, because I asked, I said, how many of y'all got jobs, man? That's having a job as a teenager, teach them about customer service and being able to work with people. And, they isolate themselves. Like, he's happy over there in the corner. You see the kid, he got his head down in the phone, like when you see him and you're like, hey, come here.
I said most of these kids gonna have a hunchback because they always like this all the time.
Right.
They don't even know.
So they had to use the restroom, right? So I'd be like, write it up. What you mean? I said, write the pass out. What you mean? Write it out. I'm not writing it out. I was making them write it out all day yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And some of them will put their name on it. Where you going? What are you doing? I said, you could write, Mr. Kendall gave me permission to jump out the window on that. You got to fill it out before I sign it.
Oh, wow.
So I make them fill it out.
That's good.
I don't play games. I'm not there to play games with y'all kids.
Yeah.
Y'all kids, if they really wanted to learn, they could sit right there in my face and I would teach them. I don't play any games. I'm not there to be nice. I'm not there to be some tough teacher. None of that. That's why they don't bother me.
Right.
They don't bother me. Because I'll be like, look, I'm not here to play with you. I'm here to give you something that you may not be getting. And when they hear that I went to the school, they be like, word, I was in Wilby for 2 days. I said, yeah, I graduated from here.
Oh yeah, you still got Bucks Hill.
Spark their interest, right?
Yeah.
But that's what they need. That's what I mean by environment.
Right.
They need people that's going to engage with them.
Right.
Also have the patience, but give them what they need.
Right. And it's beneficial. So listening to you talk, if more people can hear what you got to say, y'all got to say, man, y'all ain't gonna lose. There ain't no losing in this.
Nah.
See, I'm the connection. She's the voice.
Right. Dig it. And that's what's working. Cause you call me.
Right.
Dig it.
I like it like that.
Yeah, man. And that's important. That's how I mean, when I was a recruiter, the dude, he wasn't that good at it. So I'd have him do the paperwork. I'm like, look, I'll recruit. I used to go to adult ed, right? So they have smoke breaks. It's the smoke. So I put my cigarettes in my sock. Let me get a cigarette. Let me get a light. So he gave me the cigarette. He gave me the light. Now we talking. All three of us are talking. Now I'm calling y'all later. That's how I used to do it.
So that's me right. That's me right now. I'm you.
Right.
Get a lighter.
Right.
That's a cigarette.
Right. And we talking.
Yeah. Right.
Repetition.
That's a good analogy, though. I like that. That was smooth. That was smooth.
That's sales.
It makes sense, though.
Yeah, because they be like, oh no, I'm not. I'm not saying you've got to join the military, but what you doing? If it wasn't for me being in the military, I would have never went to the studio in Seattle. You ever been to a studio in Seattle? No? Okay, I have. You know what I mean? So the benefits, I even used to recruit some cats, man. They say, I'm going to be a rapper. Really? How you going to do that? I would put the demo on the desk. Here's the demo. You know how much this cost me to make? You ain't got no job. How you going to make it?
Right.
Say Shaggy was in the military. The Marine Corps recruiter, I said, come here, man. He was on his gun.
Right.
MC Hammer was in the Navy. It is what it is.
Nah, right.
You know what I mean? So what we're doing is bringing skills together.
Yes, absolutely.
Skills is important.
Yes. And that's one of the things that I want to do is just like really get all of us together. Like you have an avenue, we have an avenue.
Right.
Get everybody together with different avenues to support each other.
Right.
Also to bounce ideas off each other and to get bigger.
Right.
Find more people that we can connect with and bump heads with. Like, you know what I mean?
There you go.
And like, it's really huge for us in our community, for us, black people to get together.
Yeah.
Everybody else is doing it. Why we can't do it too?
We can. It's time to do it anyway.
It's time to do it.
They cutting us off at the knees, man. They ain't playing.
No, but with everything going on.
Every time you go on the media or the news and stuff, they cutting us off at the knees, man. It's going to be one big swoop. Like I saw them, they was in San Diego. Man, San Diego, you're going to kill the whole city. You ever been to San Diego, California?
No.
You kill the whole city. You deport them people. You kill the whole city.
Wow.
San Diego is beautiful. San Diego has a mall outside.
It's actually on my
It's
bucket list.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice out there. You deport all them people, you're gonna kill the whole city. For
That's
real.
no, that's true.
You're already taking away their culture. They ain't got no culture. These people ain't got no culture. What, they gonna make mashed potatoes and carrots? They have no culture. What are they gonna eat?
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we can get to it. Let's get to it. And school is almost out, so we definitely can get to it.
Nah, yeah. It's a lot of events coming up. I just want us to be in the right places at the right time to meet the right people, and expand is large and as wide as we possibly can. Because what we have in the mindset that we have is something that we need more than anything nowadays to bring people back together, to give them the hope and the mindset of positivity, and let them know that at the end of the day, man, God is always in control, and we gotta have faith in Him. We gotta trust. And we just got to know that we are bigger together than we are apart.
Right. Power to the people.
That part.
There you go. What you say, you listen to Public Enemy today?
Power to the
Yeah,
people. I
let's do
listened
it.
to Public Enemy this morning.
For real, for
But
real.
that's I'm with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I need a jump start. I got a phone call from Charlotte on my way in, and that's motivation. That's that little jump start. But all right. And if I don't have it, y'all call me and say, Marv, what you doing? Marv, what you doing? I don't mind the kick.
Okay.
I don't mind it because I don't have nothing to get me motivated.
Right.
I used to be in the studio every day, every week,
Yeah.
Ain't nothing motivating me now, so I'm kind of stuck.
Are we trying to give that kickstart to remotivate you and get you back
Yeah.
up and running, man?
Yeah, because
That's
So
what
with
we
the
here
thing
for.
with motivation don't last. We gotta find a way to create discipline. So you gotta start something new and get repetitive with it to get
Right.
your discipline back up, and the motivation will come.
dig it.
Right.
I like that. And see, I'm not too old to listen. I'm not too old to
Man,
listen.
you ain't ever too old to learn, man.
Right,
And
right.
if you feel like that, you're gonna stay
You're
strong.
gonna lose.
Manifestation
little.
is a lifelong process, man. It's a day-to-day basis, but it's a lifelong process. You just gotta keep going, keep going, keep going, keep remotivating, keep rechanneling, and keep getting
Right.
better.
Well, I know I ain't had you talk that much this time, but
Nah, it wasn't supposed to be for me.
Right.
It was supposed to be for her.
I want to thank y'all for coming by the show, man, and we can get back in here anytime.
All right,
Y'all
thank you
want-
for having us.
I come in on Saturdays and and we get it done.
All right, let's do it.
The Clock Hour for the people, by the people, about the people. As always,